Welcome to a fascinating story that begins with one of the smallest and most familiar objects in America yet stretches into a world of history, mystery, and astonishing value. Today we are going to explore the Liberty Lincoln 1 cent from 1974 with the Denver Mint mark, a coin that millions of people held in their hands, spent at grocery stores, dropped into piggy banks, and tucked away into jars. At first glance it is an ordinary penny worth 1 cent, but behind its copper glow hides a story of experimentation, rarity, and numismatic passion that has transformed certain examples into treasures worth far more than their face value. Collectors speak about the 1974 cent with awe, especially when considering its unique history and the possibility of rare survivors that can command staggering amounts. In the modern market, the most extraordinary examples of this coin have been connected with values soaring as high as $0.56 million, a number that stirs excitement and curiosity in anyone who has ever wondered about the hidden potential of everyday change. Let us begin by stepping back to understand the time. The year was 1974. America was in the midst of political turbulence, with the shadow of Watergate looming large, and the economy faced challenges from inflation and rising commodity costs. One of those commodities was copper, the very metal used to strike the humble cent. For decades the penny had been made primarily of bronze, an alloy consisting mostly of copper with small amounts of tin and zinc. By the early 1970s the price of copper was climbing so high that the intrinsic metal value of a penny threatened to equal or even exceed its face value. This presented a serious problem for the U.S. Mint. If it cost more than 1 cent to produce a 1 cent coin, the government was losing money with every strike. The mint began testing alternatives, and in 1974 it struck experimental cents made not of copper but of aluminum. More than 1 million aluminum cents dated 1974 were produced as test pieces, but they were never released for circulation. Most were destroyed, though a few escaped into private hands, becoming among the most famous rarities in modern American numismatics. While these aluminum cents were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, the Denver Mint continued producing regular copper-bronze cents for everyday use. That is where the 1974 cent comes into the spotlight. At first glance, the 1974 looks like any other Lincoln cent of the era. The obverse features the enduring portrait of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner, showing the president in a solemn profile with the word Liberty to the left, the motto "In God We Trust" above, and the date 1974 to the right, with a small letter D below the date indicating it was minted in Denver. The reverse continues with the Lincoln Memorial design introduced in 1959, complete with the tiny seated statue of Lincoln visible at the center if viewed with a magnifier. It is a coin that millions of Americans carry daily, yet within this ocean of copper lie hidden gems that collectors have spent decades seeking. The 1974 Lincoln cent is historically important because it represents the end of an era. It was among the last years before the United States Mint abandoned bronze and moved to copper-plated zinc in 1982. Thus every 1974 is part of the final full decade of true bronze pennies, a detail that gives them added nostalgia and collector appeal. But beyond history, what gives certain examples extraordinary value is a mixture of rarity, condition, and unusual errors. Minting errors are where the magic often happens. With the massive numbers produced at Denver, mistakes were bound to occur. Some 1974 cents show double dies where the design elements appear double due to a misalignment in the hubbing process. This doubling can be seen on the date on the letters of Liberty or in the motto. When pronounced, such doubling transforms a common cent into a valuable variety. Other errors include off-center strikes where part of the design is missing and a blank crescent of metal remains, or broad strikes where the coin was struck without a retaining collar and thus spread wider than normal. There are also examples with clipped planchets showing missing arcs along the edge, and even coins struck on foreign planchets or transitional compositions. One of the most captivating rumors in numismatics is that a few 1974 cents might exist in aluminum, though none have ever been confirmed in public hands. Imagine what such a coin would represent: a combination of a wrong metal error and a famous experimental issue. If one were ever authenticated, it would certainly rewrite the value charts and could easily surpass any previous record for modern cents. Collectors have dreamed about this possibility for decades, and while it remains speculation, the excitement it generates adds fuel to the legend of the 1974 Another factor that drives value is condition. Most 1974 cents went straight into circulation, where they accumulated scratches, wear, and discoloration. Copper is especially prone to toning and spotting, so finding a coin that has survived nearly 50 years with blazing original red luster and virtually no contact marks is incredibly rare. Professional grading services carefully evaluate these coins, and examples graded mint state 67 red or higher are coveted trophies. At these levels the population becomes tiny and competition among collectors pushes auction prices higher and higher. A coin that would be overlooked in pocket change becomes a centerpiece of a collection. Auction records show that high-grade 1974 D cents can bring thousands of dollars, and when you add in rare varieties or dramatic mint errors the values escalate into tens of thousands. From their speculation about the absolute finest known or potentially unique pieces leads to jaw-dropping estimates like the .56 million figure. While such a number represents the extreme top of the market and the rarest of the rare, it illustrates the incredible journey of value that a small bronze disc can take when rarity, condition and collector passion align. The story of the 1974 D cent is not just about money, however. It is also about heritage and symbolism. Abraham Lincoln was chosen for the cent in 1909 because he represented unity, honesty and resilience. In 1974 America was again in need of those values as it navigated political scandal and economic strain. Holding a 1974 D cent is like holding a piece of that history, a silent witness to the everyday struggles and triumphs of the American people. It jingled in the pockets of workers, students, parents and children, connecting generations in ways few other objects can. For the collector, the thrill of the hunt is what makes coins like the 1974 D so special. Imagine searching through a roll of cents, flipping them one by one, when suddenly you see the date 1974 with a small d. You pause, you tilt it under the light, you check the details. Maybe you notice unusual doubling on the letters, or the surfaces gleam with original fiery red luster untouched by time. In that moment you feel the connection to the wider world of numismatics, where knowledge, patience and luck can turn an ordinary coin into a life-changing find. So how do you know if your 1974 D cent might be valuable? First, examine its condition. If it has full mint red color, sharp details and minimal marks, it could already be worth much more than face value. Second, check for varieties by studying the date, liberty and the motto for signs of doubling or other anomalies. Third, weigh the coin if possible. A standard bronze cent should weigh about 3.1 grams. If yours weighs significantly less, it could indicate an unusual composition that demands expert analysis. Fourth, consider professional grading if you believe your coin is exceptional. Certification not only confirms authenticity and grade but also provides protection and adds trust in the marketplace. The lesson of the 1974 D Lincoln cent is that even the most ordinary seeming coins can carry extraordinary stories. They are more than just metal. They are history, art and mystery fused together. They remind us to look closer at the things we take for granted. That penny you almost ignored might hold a legacy of half a century and a potential fortune. As we close this journey, remember that every coin has a tale, and the 1974 D is one of the most compelling. It represents the end of the Bronze Era, the dream of the aluminum experiment, the fascination of minting errors, and the magic of survival in pristine condition. It is proof that value is not always about size or weight but about the stories we attach to objects and the rarity that sparks human desire. So keep your eyes open. Search those coin jars, those rolls from the bank, those forgotten drawers. The next great discovery could be sitting quietly in your collection right now, waiting for the moment someone notices its beauty and rarity. And who knows, maybe the coin that changes your life is a Liberty Lincoln 1 cent from 1974 with a little d beneath the date, glowing with history and whispering its story of worth.